Hey everybody, it's Mr. Wilmer in the Masonry Lab. Um, for the video this week, I'm going to deviate a little bit from what we're talking about in class, which is leads, brick and block leads. And I'm going to get back to an idea that I touched on in our video last week about using guides. Okay, a guide is sort of a replacement for a lead. It's a faster way to set the coursing and the spacing in between courses of bricks. So I'm going to show you one of the more common ways to do it today. We're going to set a corner pole, and it just so happens we have a pretty nice one in our lab. So pretty simple thing. It looks heavier than it is. This is your standard corner pole. It's made out of aluminum. It's 2x2. It has some markings etched into it as far as spacing goes, but I went ahead and marked this with a pencil. This is a scale of 5 here, which is a pretty common scale. But a really talented mason once showed me this little trick for setting these. Okay, there are all kinds of fancy little brackets and things that you can get to attach this to a corner of a building. Okay, but a much easier and probably cheaper way, maybe even more common way to do this, is with securing 2 smaller pieces of 2x4 at the correct width out from the wall, and to just simply clamp this to the 2x4 itself. Okay, so to try to move along with this here, I'm going to show you. Right here's the corner of our building, and we're going to just assume this is just going to be a brick veneer. So this is a one-sided. We're just doing this wall right here. So what we want to do is set this corner pole, because this is going to guide the entire wall, but we're going to set this just far enough away from this wall that we can attach a line to it, and every brick set in the wall is going to be based on this. Because this is already marked with the correct spacing, and it's going to be locked plumb with the wall, the entire wall is going to be plumb, and all the brick are going to sit level, because they absolutely have to be. The guide, the piece here that is guiding right where they go, is going to be set plumb, and the line is going to be level. So by nature of how this is set, the whole rest of the wall will be set according to this. So we would need a couple of clamps, 2 small pieces of 2x4, really not longer than 1.5 feet, 2 feet long, and I'm going to screw this right into the side of the wall. Okay, because remember, we're not putting brick over here on this side. We're only going to be putting masonry to this side, so we can attach things to here. We're going to space the pole 1.5 inches out. Okay. That's pretty standard for siding. Siding will stick out of the wall about 1.5 inches. So we want our brick to stick out 1.5 inches. Therefore, we're going to set our corner pole 1.5 inches outside of this wall. All right. And one other thing I want to show you is this piece of 2x4. It's going to be set exactly 4.5 inches outside. So this line has to line up with that line on the side of the building. With 4.5 inches. This is going to allow for the 3.5-inch brick, right? Because that's going to be our standard size here. The brick is going to be 3.5 inches, and then there's going to be 1 inch of airspace in between. Okay, so it's important that we get this completely lined up to the side of the building. So let me go and do that. I'm going to use our screw gun. I'm going to get this set here. Hopefully you guys can all see it. Alright, that's lined up. My screws are already in place, and I simply drive them in. There's one. Check it here, we're still lined up. Alright, so my 2 pieces of 2x4 are set where we need them. The next step is we take our clamps here. We get our corner pole in place, and it's got to be right on. It's got to be right to the very outside of these 2x4s, or it's not going to be plumb. Okay, so that's really important that they are lined up perfectly. And we clamp this securely in place here. Okay? With that one. Got that one. And now just to double check, you always want to double check your work. You come by with a level, right? And you check and make darn sure that that thing is plumb. And it is, okay? So the carpenters did their job right. Just wanted to double check, make sure. So now that our pole's in place, starting at the bottom, of course, I'm just going to show you here, but you can start to set your courses with your line block, right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago. You would attach this right to the edge. And I'm going to go across and tie this here to the other side. But you can see we have our perfect 4.5-inch spacing. Our line is level. And we're ready to go. So of course we're going to have to adjust this as we build the courses up. This clamp would be in the way otherwise. But once we get to the top, eventually we'll have to build the lead. We'll have to finish off the very top because the corner pole is it's no longer going to have room to be attached. But you can see how this would make things a heck of a lot faster when you have one of these set at either side of a building, and you can just set your line and basically run with it. So that's it. One way to set a corner pole. So thanks again for watching, guys.